Hi, everybody. You're listening to Profoundish. Today, my co-host Weston and I are talking all about the video games we played in 2022. And then after that, we're playing yet another round of Never Have I Ever, but this time, it's themed around video games. All right, let's get going. This is Profoundish.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Profoundish. Was my energy too much for you?
No, I had to do the opposite. You were excited and saying hello, so I had to very casually just goodbye.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. I just heard, oh God.
Or
maybe
sorry. Yeah, maybe the Discord didn't pick it up. I just very casually, while you were yelling hello, 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 I was like, goodbye.
Well, the funniest part about that to me, actually, is I'll tell you now. I don't know if you heard it, but as soon as you said goodbye, I forgot to mute the music that plays usually, like in my headphones. So it was like, goodbye. And then the da, 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 da. It's like, oh, that's really it.
I like
how
that
could
we
be
both
our
have, what could
sorry,
be our I was going to say, I like how we're both like casually listening to music while we're supposed to be doing this podcast. Yours is because it's just overlaid and you're going to use it later. And mine is because I just literally listen to lo-fi beats while I do anything.
I was going to ask what you were doing, because I know sometimes you change the style. You're doing lo-fi today?
We're actually doing chill hop. It's chill hop, jazz beats, and lo-fi hip hop. It's a playlist.
These playlists, do you do them on YouTube or Spotify, or where do you do them?
YouTube. I have YouTube Premium because I'm loaded like that. So I use YouTube Music.
Heck yeah.
So not like the YouTube site, but YouTube Music's site.
You know, it's funny. Two things. One, I've never touched YouTube Music, so I have no idea how to use it.
That's how I feel when I'm on Spotify. I'm like, what the heck?
I love Spotify. And two, YouTube Premium is incredible and to me worth every penny.
Honestly, just to remove the ads alone. I pay to remove ads.
Literally. I was about to say it. I don't know if it's a hot take to only like it because it gets rid of ads, but that's the only reason why I have it. Literally. And I'll use like I have like a personal account and then I have like my public account, and my public account actually is the one that doesn't have premium, right? Because I don't watch stuff on that account. So every time if I forget to change accounts and I just go to any video, even just the 5-second skip ads, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the pits. This can't get any worse.
I've had a couple times where like Google like glitched out or something and YouTube didn't think I had a premium account. So I'd click on a video and it'd start playing an ad and I would get like personally offended. like excuse
I'm paying
me?
you for this.
I pay money specifically to not see this.
Right. It's terrible. And because then I go through this whole thing in my head like, how did I used to do this? Like,
and I know people at home are probably like whispering like ad block, but shut up.
I know. That's what it always is when I see somebody like in the comments anywhere talking about it's like, just get ad block or whatever. It's, for me, I love it so much. Because YouTube is like literally, it's 95% of what I consume.
Same,
video-wise,
actually.
at least.
Yeah.
And so it's well worth it. I think for someone who maybe is more of a casual viewer, it probably isn't. Like if you're just going on there to watch like a how-to video, I mean, just watch the ad. Who cares? Because you're only going to be on there for like a little bit, you know?
Right. And I could totally see that. Like if it's you or me, yeah, and you're going to be on there all the time, and you get access to YouTube Music ad-free, and you get, the premium shows or whatever if you're into all that. If you watch it a ton and you've got a little bit of disposable income, so you don't have to like futz with ad block or whatever, or you just want to support the people that you watch, with the premium money or whatever. I think I pay it. It's worth it to me. I don't actually know what the heck I'm paying for it right now. I was still, because I think they raised the price forever and ever ago, but I was like grandfathered in because I was in way back in YouTube Red, so I got grandfathered in for a while. I don't even know what I pay right now. I just pay it every month.
I don't know if I'm grandfathered in because I know you got it first, but I'm still paying $10, I believe. I think it's still
that's what it was,
right?
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I was paying. Now I'm like, I don't even know if that's what I'm paying now still or not. I'm so bad about monitoring my money. Unless there's like a big jump in money missing, then I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I to my knowledge, I'm still paying 10. Because I do kind of keep an eye on that a little bit. And so, yeah, I think we're still paying 10. Another great, it's all about value, right? And for me, Game Pass, because I think you got Game Pass for PC now, right?
I do. I barely touch it. I need to use it. I forget that I have it.
Dude, talk about value. That is incredible value.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
I play so many games that I never would have otherwise played. And I'm just taking advantage of the $10 a month until they inevitably up the price, because that's how the subscription model works. And
right. Sooner or later.
But sooner or later, I think that's Xbox's whole game now is just, hey, let us be your platform for games. And I love it too, because I have an old Xbox One. I mean, I say old because that's literally a 10-year-old system now, and which is nuts to think about. But it's great because I can do it on the computer, and then I can switch on over and do it on my TV if I want. And all of those, all the save data converts. So it's the same game. It's not like a PC game and then like a console game.
It's saved
at least
to
for
the
most
cloud.
games.
Okay.
So that is really nice. And now, I don't know if you saw this. This isn't a big ad for Game Pass, but I do love it. But TVs now are starting to come out with the app built in it. So you can just do it on your television. Like new Samsung TVs.
Oh.
It's crazy.
They must be streaming the game, because if you don't have a console or anything hooked up to it.
Yeah, you got to have probably pretty solid...
pretty good internet
for that. But like I said, definitely worth the price. So if anyone's on the fence about it, you have my recommendation. You should definitely try it more. But, we are on the topic of games, and I've been having a hankering... Look at that segue.
Oh.
I've been having a hankering to actually talk about games with you some more, because it's been a little while. And
okay.
I thought, we're closing out the month, right? And I think and we've kind of had a theme a little bit about looking back almost on every episode this month in some way, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it might be fun to talk to you a little bit about our favorite games that we played in 2022.
Oh, Lord, I don't even know what I've played.
Why for you it's probably a blur, because you stream some and then you play some personally. It probably all crossfades.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, because there's some stuff I play a little bit of. I don't know if I've played... I'm trying to think, did I play any new games that came out in 2022 that I also played in well, I'm actually playing one right now, to be fair. I am playing for stream. And I'm actually playing it from Game Pass, because the standard edition came out on Game Pass, is the new Hello Neighbor game.
Mm-hmm.
Hello Neighbor 2 came out in 2022, and the standard one came straight to Game Pass. I already had it. I didn't really want to pay the money for the deluxe, because I wasn't sure if I was going to like the game, because I actually hated the first game. But, that stream life, when people want to see you suffer, they want to see you suffer. And I'm like, well, I can get the standard for free because I'm already paying for Game Pass, so I might as well give it a shot. And I actually like it a lot better than the first game. It's definitely got its flaws, but I like it a lot better than the first game. I think it's a more fundamentally sound game.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this. I remember I hopped in on one of your streams of it. Fairly recently, and I remember thinking, because I played the first one it was already out for a while when I played it. It actually is when the first one first came to Game Pass, I think, which was still a few years ago now. But I just remember feeling like this seemed like just a very typical, just kind of, the physics weren't really figured out. It wasn't very tight controls. It just seemed, and the graphics weren't too great. It seemed very just kind of loose, if that makes sense. That's not really tight. And I remember thinking, okay, it's another one of those games. I played it for 3 hours, and it was okay. And then watching some of your playthrough of it, it looked like, obviously I didn't know how it felt, but it looked way nicer. It looked like they had a bigger budget to play with. It just looked much more like a bigger game in general. Probably because it's more popular and people are anticipating it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm assuming budget increased too, if I were to guess.
I have to imagine it did. I don't know what the budget was, but considering that the first game was, I think, a Kickstarter project, or some kind of project like that, and it was, despite it having a lot of issues, was massively supported and popular enough that they actually did make even a multiplayer game later. I don't remember the heck it's called, Secret Neighbor or something. That I don't like that game either, because it's based off the first. But it was popular anyway. So he had these popular games. So I think it did all right, especially in the indie space, to the point where now they had a bigger budget to work on the sequel and a lot to prove. I feel like they still made too many promises that they couldn't keep, but whatever.
That will happen. We've seen video game companies do that. That's not new, sadly. But I will say this, just so you know, too, these don't have to be games that came out in 2022. In fact, I think a lot of the ones that I'm bringing up, at least some, will not be even remotely released in 2022. So just games that we like that really kind of stuck out to you. You didn't have to beat them. Just games that kind of struck a chord with you and you played enough of to kind of get a feel for it, and it really, it stuck with you. I can kind of go back. I actually kind of remember sort of in order a little bit some of the games, not all, because with Game Pass you can sample 1 trillion games, so, but
right.
I'd say the first game that I played, this was back in January. This was in January 2022. I was in my later stages from my injury recovery, so I had a lot of time just to sit and really sink my teeth into a game. And I remember, so a couple years before that, or maybe just a year ago before that, there was a game that came out. It was a remake of one of my favorite action-adventure RPGs, and I think you know about it because I think we've talked about it, but I don't know if you've played it. It was called, this came out during 360 PS3 era. It was called Kingdoms of Amalur.
Oh, Kingdoms of Amalur, yeah.
I don't know if you ever played that. Did you ever play that?
I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't beat it. I put a few hours into it though.
Okay, so you kind of have a general idea. So that came out around the same time originally as Skyrim. It was around that time frame because I remember playing that game and not playing Skyrim. So everybody was talking about Skyrim, and I was the guy playing that. And at the time, I didn't really care. I didn't touch Skyrim, this, until quite a few years later. But that was the game for whatever reason that I had and just played, and I'm so glad I did because it was a really fun game. And they just did, I think it was, once again, I think it actually was in 2021, but they made the remake, the Re-Reckoning. And I thought, I would love to play through this again. And because when I played it before, I almost beat it, but then not quite did. So I thought, I have the time, let me just beat it. So I played through it, and it was it's a fun game. I mean, it's a lot like a game sort of like Skyrim would be. It does all the things that you'd expect it to do. The thing that I didn't like, though, I still love it because I'm kind of nostalgic for it now, but it was kind of clunky menu stuff. The immersion breaks. When you play a game like Skyrim, even the original release, when music's playing in the background, if you pause the game or if you're going through your spell menu or whatever menu you're going to, the music still plays. But for some reason with Re-Reckoning, and I'm assuming the original as well, the music just stops. It just cuts. You could be in this intense scene, I gotta get some potion and heal up or something, and I have to go through menus to do it for whatever reason. It just completely breaks the
I don't
immersion.
remember that. Okay.
And stuff like that felt a little archaic, and that was kind of hard to get used to. And then it did start to feel a little grindy at the end. I know I have not great things to say about it. I still love it. It's still a great experience. I do recommend it, but it just I don't know. I these days I'd prefer to just do an Elder Scrolls like Skyrim instead of Kingdoms of Amalur, but still a great game. And that's how I started the year, I think.
I got Kingdoms of Amalur, the Re-Reckoning. I haven't installed it. I thought about it, but I didn't. I got it in a Humble Bundle, actually. I think I don't know what month it was. In one of my months for a Humble Bundle, I got it, and I was going to download and install it because I hadn't played it in forever because I think it was on the PS3. And and so I'm like, okay, I should do that. I didn't get very far in it. I never got around to it, though. I still have it. I could download it. I could play it on my PC. I could do it.
Well, if you want a fun story and just kind of your typical action-adventure RPG style game, then I do recommend it still. It is still really fun. But you got to be in that mood to play a game like that because it does get kind of... Grindy was the wrong word. It gets more repetitive, especially closer to the end. You're leveled up enough and you just want to go beat the game, but then you keep coming across these hordes of enemies that you got to fight, and it gets kind of old closer to the end.
And you're man, I know how this is going to go. You could all just give up now.
Exactly. It kind of overstays its welcome a little too long with the duration of it. because this was during a time, I feel like, not to go on a tangent, but that was right around a time where games were getting like bigger, like in terms of in-game. They were just getting bigger, but they didn't have quite enough to put everywhere yet. So they were just giant games with not as much as you'd think to do, at least in a game like that.
Right.
And so like there'd be these big expansive this lands you could run through, and then there's just enemies everywhere. It kind of got, and then the occasional village. So it just got kind of boring. But that's kind of my take on that. What about you? Do you remember anything near the beginning of 2022? Like any closer to that time?
Near the beginning of 2022, I was I almost need to actually maybe I should try to look on my I'm going to scroll through my YouTube. I was going to bring up I Am Fish. That was more in the middle of it. I started that over the summer.
That's okay.
I played I Am Fish. It's a spinoff from the I Am Bread game that came out forever ago, but I never played I Am Bread. I played I Am Fish. And you play as one of 4 different fish, except for at the end, once you get them all together again, you play as all the fish together. And all the different fish have different like abilities, basically. But they're all trying to get to the sea. They're all trying to get to the ocean. And they originally were all in the same like aquarium, but they were in like a fish store. And they eat some like special like magical bread or something. And they all kind of get this like semi-sentience where they're like kind of aware of their surroundings. And they're like, we want to go to the sea. But they all get sold off or whatever. And they all get split up. And now they're all trying to get to the ocean separately. And once you all get there, you've got like one final mission all together or something like that. Really fun game. I enjoyed it for most of the game until like the flying fish and then the actual combined fish missions. I got lost so many times, didn't know what to do, struggled so hard with the controls that I was having almost a miserable experience by the end. I was so frustrated because it's kind of a hard game.
Oh, goodness.
With the controls. If you've ever seen I Am Bread, the whole like premise behind that game is that like you're a slice of bread. So it's very difficult to get around.
Is that game.
Yeah, it's that game.
Okay.
You are a slice of bread. So just getting around the map is very difficult. I Am Fish, made by the same people. Some of the puzzles kind of hard to get around.
Okay, so because I was going to say I'm not really familiar with that particular game that you did or anything like that. So it is very physics heavy.
Yeah,
like
I would
it's
say
one of those things.
I would say less so than the I Am Bread, but it's in that sort of vein where physics is definitely a thing. There's physics puzzles. There's like balancing, falling off ledges, but trying not to. It's kind of in that area.
It's in that area, but it's not like your human fall flat. It's not that far.
It's not quite that bad, yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, I can imagine, especially as it progresses, just it getting more and more difficult just to control. That would frustrate me so bad.
Oh my gosh, you know what we both played at the beginning of this year and we haven't finished?
Was that It Takes Two?
Yeah, It Takes Two.
Yeah, It Takes Two. That I still would like to finish that, even if we don't stream it. Or, of course, you know what? If we're going to play it, we might as well stream it. That game was fun. Quite a bit, actually. There was that one boss fight I really enjoyed. I remember you liked it, too. We both kind of said it was really good. It was very creative, like the way we would play together. That was one of those, like, how would you describe it? It's like an adventure game, but it's like a co-op adventure.
Yeah, it's a co-op action-adventure game with puzzle elements where both players have to work together to progress. And at all times, it's like a split screen where we both see on our separate screens a split screen so that we can always see what the other is doing.
Right, and each character has kind of like their own special abilities that they're kind of dynamic. They come and go, like they change in each level. But each person, it's pretty much you can't beat this by yourself. You're like you have to play it together. That's the whole point. So it's really fun. The story was kind of sad, and then also I remember the book guy being really weird.
The book guy was very strange, and I like how like the main couple that you're playing as are also kind of uncomfortable with him. Like, come on, guy, just shut up. We're trying to go home, and he's just like, no, I got to teach you how to love again.
Yeah, so weird. And I'm assuming they do love again. We should go back to that because I think we're over halfway done. I'm pretty sure.
I think we played for 2 sessions and we've put 6 hours into the game. I don't know. I don't
'Cause it's
remember where that left us off at, but that's like where we're at.
I don't think that game's very long. Like
I don't think so
like
either.
compared to like your typical adventure game.
Right.
So we should go back to that because that is fun. I like games like that. I don't get to play those very often anymore. I know growing up we had a lot of like, you know, you and I played Goemon too, Goemon's Adventure, and those are usually couch games. So the fact that they have some co-op games that are like online is really cool. I know they did that one before that was like more like of an action game, I guess. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah,
I think it was action. It was more like serious.
Yeah, the Prison Break one where you start off in a prison. I don't remember what that was called. It was,
Me neither.
What the heck was that? It was something similar in the same It Takes Two but prison game. There, I'm Googling it. A Way Out. It's called A Way Out.
A Way Out, yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted to see what that's like too.
I wanted to play that when it was like newer. I was like, I want to play that with my brother because he and I both played a different game many years ago. And I put it on my channel called what was it called? Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And it's a story.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, if you're familiar, it's a story about these two sons. Their dad like dies or is dying. I forget which. Mm-hmm. And the two sons go out on an adventure. I think he's dying because I think they go out on an adventure to maybe find a cure or something like that. And it's a very emotional journey, actually, especially by the time you get to the end and have to actually return home. And I don't want to spoil that game for anybody, but it's actually really good and it hits really hard. So, especially if you're playing it with your brother, literally. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that game. Yeah, never played it. I don't know if I watched you guys play it, but I know I've seen a lot of gameplay and kind of went through that story. It's rough, but it's really good, at least from what I remember. And now they have other ones too. I don't want to go on that tangent, but you know they got like Unraveled and all that stuff that I'd like to try. There's a lot of options now for co-op games. I was just thinking about another game, though. Around that time when we were playing that, there was an indie game that rumbled around a little bit, because I think it's this developer's first game. I can't remember their name now, but Tunic. You familiar with that?
Tunic's not ringing any bells.
Okay, so at first, if you look at a game like Tunic, you would think it's just like a 3D isometric Zelda clone. But it's really not, actually. Like it plays like it does puzzles like an old Zelda game, but it actually does combat a little bit more like Soulsy. There's a lot of dodging and strategy with your fighting, and then it's basically like an exploration game with no words, like everything. Like you kind of piece together the story by yourself, and what I think is so cool, it's very charming. It's a very charming game. You play like it's like a little fox, I think, and he's wearing a green tunic, so there's the Zelda influence. But and you get different weapons, and you progress through these stories and these enemies and everything, and it gets pretty tough. But as you learn what happens in the game, the game reveals itself to you and teaches you new moves through uncovering the game's manual in the game. It's actually really interesting. Like it's kind of hard to explain, but like you'll unravel the next piece of like the video game manual. And then you look at the manual and you can learn, oh, I can do this or I can go there. And you keep opening up the game manual within the game. Okay. And like it's none of it's in English. It's all just made up, like wingding kind of language and stuff. But you can learn, oh, I can roll, and it's a really fun like kind of homage to like older games, but still keeping fresh with the combat in it and everything like that. It's just a really fun indie isometric kind of adventure game. I do recommend that. I believe it's on Game Pass. That's how I played it. But that was a ton of fun. That was probably my favorite indie game that I played this year. Like super indie. Like I know they were a very small team.
I think I actually did see some YouTuber. I don't remember who I was watching, but I think I did see some YouTuber playing a little bit of that, like as a spotlight. They just did a one-off video, like new indie game or whatever. Because I looked it up just now. And I'm like, this does look familiar. And then you started describing the opening up the game manual thing, and I'm like, yeah, no, that does sound familiar. I think it did look really good. That's actually worth probably checking out, especially if you have Game Pass or something.
Yes, I would recommend it if you want to do a one-off or just kind of explore. I never beat the game. I want to go back and do that. It actually gets more challenging than it looks like it would as you go on. So I do recommend that. I was thinking too when we planning this episode out, I thought maybe I should look at like because maybe that's what you're doing now, but I could like look at like my Steam games and stuff, where I was trying to find like what's the easiest way for me to look and see what I played this year.
Right. I've got my Steam open, and I've got my YouTube like list of live streams open, because that's where most of the games I played are, is either between Steam or here.
Because that's what I was hoping to ask you, was like if there was any like that you played off stream that really kind of struck a chord with you, old or new, in 2022.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that really struck a chord with me that I like stuck with off camera, other than, which I didn't start playing this in 2022. I've had it for a while. I play on and off again a lot of Stellaris, which is this big, like kind of like a 4X, but really not, but big open sandbox, open galaxy. You start with one planet and try to conquer other planets, or diplomacy, or it's a giant sandbox. It's made by Paradox. If people know Paradox, it's the same people that do like Europa Universalis, or the other one that I can't think of. They do a bunch of games. So it's a good game. I like Stellaris quite a bit, but I've been playing it for like years now, so I don't know if it counts really.
Could you be a little more specific? I only say this because I was looking at games to kind of sink my teeth into a little bit, just as we're in the new year now, just to before new ones come out. And that popped up. That's also on Game Pass. And I was looking at it. I wasn't quite sure exactly what kind of game it was. So like, you're mentioning conquering planets or something? Is it like a strategy game, or like what kind of game is it?
It's you could even call it a grand strategy game. Set in space. And I don't know if it's really up your alley or not, because it's definitely nothing like Tunic would be, but it's strategy. So if you want to, especially if it's on Game Pass, you can give it a try and see what you think. But it's kind of because it's a Paradox game and they're very complicated. It's a lot to take in all at once. It's one of those games. There's a lot of looking at figures and sheets and like just information, just taking in information and learning how all the different systems work, going through like, how do populations grow on my different planets, and how do I put them to work? And then as you begin to expand out, how do I do diplomacy with other alien races that like either like me, hate me, or are weaker than me, more powerful than me? And at its core, it's ultimately kind of a war sim. You can play it peacefully, but like at its core, it's a war sim. So you're building fleets and you're trying to like unlock technology to be better than everybody else. And some of those technologies are based on war. Some of them just make you produce more like food or, basic raw resources, or some of them are like alloys and like, worked resources. And yeah, and there's a bunch of other like fun stuff in there. If you really want to go down that route, you can go mechanical and like completely turn your entire civilization into robots, or you can unlock psionic powers, or there's some crazy sci-fi stuff in there as well to really keep you enticed. You can play as a hive mind. That was the first way I played Stellaris. Was as a machine hive mind. That way, a lot of the internal strife, where like people are trying to form up new like parties, and they all like, we want to be more materialist, we want to be more spiritual. There's a bunch of like internal diplomacy too. If you play as a hive mind, you can kind of ignore all that, because they just all do what you say.
Right.
But
that actually does sound interesting to me. I'd like to give it a shot, especially, it won't cost me a dime.
Yeah,
so.
If it's on Game Pass, I'd say give it a shot. It is a grand strategy, so there's a lot of information to take in. But it's also a sandbox, so there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just go for it.
Right. Yeah. Because I've never heard of like the term grand strategy. Is that something you coined, or is that kind of like a subgenre?
It's a subgenre.
Like games?
It's a tag on Steam. I don't know if it's a tag elsewhere. You've got your strategy games, but then like grand strategy takes that to like 11, and there's just a lot. A lot of stuff to do.
Hence the grand.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I do like, in general, I do like RTSs and stuff. Like, I do get into those. I need to be in the right mood, but
It would be considered an
least
RTS. It's not turn-based. It goes. You can pause, but it goes. Yeah.
Okay. Either way, I think I might check that out and see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. See, for me with games, like, I have to be in the right mood for the right kinds of games. Like, I don't stream like you do. So when I sit down, it's really just whatever I want to do. And then sometimes I'm in the mood for something quick. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something to, I always say this, but sink my teeth into, really sit down and get into it, you know?
Yeah.
So I really would have to be in the mood for something like that. I'm trying to think of another one for me.
If you do end up loving that game, we can have, I've never done a smaller scale I've done a little multiplayer. If you start playing that and you're like, I love this game, you let me know. We can have a stupid long Stellaris night, and I'm down.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Okay, let me see if I like it. I'll get it. I was looking at it literally, it was recently, very recently. So yeah, after you explaining that, I want to give it a shot. So yeah, I'll let you know. In a completely different genre, again, the Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge came out.
That is a very different genre.
Yeah, it's a beat 'em up, totally different. But I like, you know me, I like retro games a lot.
Yeah,
and I still play those. And this was a remake. It did come out in 2022 in the summer, I believe, and it was a complete. It wasn't a remake. It was like a mixture of a remake and then like a reimagining, like, you know, one of those hybrids, right?
Right.
Of Ninja Turtles 4, which is my favorite. I played quite a few of those games, but that was my favorite growing up, was Ninja Turtles 4. Most people know it as Turtles in Time. And, yeah, so I played through that. I remember I was on vacation, and I was at the beach. And guess what? When you're a redhead at the beach, you're only on the beach for like a day and a half. Because after that, you're going to be a lobster. So I sat up at the beach house, like outside with the breeze and right next to the beach, just on my, using Game Pass and my iPad, because you can do cloud play. And I beat Shredder's Revenge on that trip. And super fun, super mindless, right? It's just a beat 'em up. It gets challenging at some parts, but it's really just a mindless beat 'em up, and it was nostalgic and pretty faithful to the old game. So that was super fun. So if there's any beat 'em ups fans, that's a great classic game, but now new to get into, Shredder's Revenge. I think they also released like this big, I think they called it the Cowabunga collection of like all the old games remastered or something.
Oh.
I haven't touched that. But Shredder's Revenge is really good, and I do recommend that. And that's also co-op.
If you want,
so you could, and that can
another. Sorry to cut you off. If you want another good co-op beat 'em up game, it's old now, so I hope it still holds up. I think they made a sequel too. Guacamelee is a game I played a bajillion years ago now. This was not last year. And I played a bit of it with my brother. I never finished it, but it comes highly reviewed, and it's you play as like luchadors, like luchador like wrestlers or something, and it's a beat 'em up, and you can play co-op.
That sounds familiar. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it came out forever ago. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. It came out forever ago. Guacamelee. Yeah, Guacamelee 2 is $5. Guacamelee the Gold Edition's $3.74. Is that just because it's on sale right now? I think it might be on sale. Oh yeah, it's just on sale. It's on crazy sale right now, but it also might be on Game Pass. It's normally like $15. It came out in 2013.
I'll get that.
9-year-old game.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have any I think I've got a couple. I've also been able to think about this before we started recording, but do you have any like honorable mentions that you want to bring up? Just like quick little blurbs before we move on?
For fighter games, I played a little bit of Multiverses, and at the time seemed really promising. I don't know where we're at with that one right now. I played the SpongeBob, what the heck's it called? Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I've been playing that. I don't know by the time this episode actually comes out, but I'm still playing it. What else do I got? I played a bunch of other random weird online games. Poppy Playtime, Jump King.
You're scrolling right now. I could guarantee you.
I'm just scrolling through games here. There's several
really quick
games. I played Untitled Goose Game. That's worth playing if you haven't played that before.
I haven't touched that, but it looks like a fun time.
Yeah,
it does look. That looks like a very accessible game. It looks like one of those games that like anybody would enjoy too. Like anybody.
It's very accessible. It's a little puzzling sometimes where you're scratching your head like, how the heck do I move on? Like, what am I trying to do? But it's meant to be that way. You're supposed to go around the environment and figure out how to move on. It really helps that I was streaming it. People could kind of tell me what to do.
Well, you mentioned, I want to go back to this for a second. You said the multiverses game. That for some reason, 2022 was like the year for like these like Smash knockoff fighter games to come out.
Yeah.
Because that one came out, and then there was also...
Nickelodeon
there
had
was
one.
like two more. Nickelodeon had one, and there was a third one, I thought. All right, am I making that up? Maybe I'm making it up.
I can't remember.
It feels like a lot. But was Multiversus any good? I played that like once because I had it, I think it was like gold on PlayStation, when I turned on the old dusty PS4 and I downloaded it and played it once, and it was okay. I played if I remember right.
I played it with Ian and TJ on stream with a Friday night stream, and we enjoyed it there, but we didn't. There weren't a lot of characters at the time, so we kind of burned through what we had and figured out what we liked. But it had promise. I liked the direction it was going. But it is a Smash clone.
It seemed to do better though than like the Nick one. Like I remember I played the Nick one too, and I felt like Multiversus played better. Like it felt better to play. Like it still didn't feel like a Smash game. It didn't feel that tight, but it still felt much better than the Nickelodeon game. Did you ever touch that one at all?
I didn't. I kind of think I own it. Do I own it? Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I literally own it. I haven't played it yet.
For those of you who may not be gamers, part of being a gamer in this day and age is owning games you will never play. That's just kind of part of it.
I mean, I collect a lot of games through various means, not least of which is my Humble Bundle subscription. So I get a lot of games, and because I'm usually streaming other ones for stream, I don't always get to everything. It doesn't work.
Right.
You don't want to know how many games I've got. So many goddamn games.
I've got quite a few, but I know for a fact you've got more than me because I've seen your Steam library before in person. And that's not even everything. So
correct.
I can only imagine. But I guess my honorable mentions here would be I tried out what's it called? Phoenix Rising? It came out. It was like one of the debut games when the new generation of consoles came out. Phoenix Rising. It was kind of like Roman times, and you had like these wings, and it was like it was actually ended up being a Breath of the Wild clone, and I didn't realize it. But it got decent reviews, and it was okay, but it got too cloney for me.
I'm trying to remember.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
Was it the Phoenix Rising Immortals?
Immortals Phoenix Rising, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
So it was an Ubisoft game, and it was fine. It was fine. It wasn't anything great, but it was decent if you want like an adventure RPG kind of game, but like third person with puzzles and stuff. It was fine. And then the other game that I played, I'm actually still kind of playing through it slowly just because I kind of backed off a little bit. Closer to the end of the year was Octopath Traveler.
Oh, I wanted to play that.
It's a JRPG. Hey, it's on Game Pass now.
Okay.
It's a JRPG with turn-based combat. It's about these 8 different characters. They all have 8 different stories, but and you can choose to go through each story separately. You can go around, find them any way you want, and then your stories kind of intertwine closer to the end. So everybody comes together and they work together, and it's really cool. And of course, so if you like JRPGs and that sort of thing, I do recommend it. And it's also very beautiful. It's a pretty game. So I do recommend that, especially on Game Pass. So those are kind of my other games that I've been playing. But now I think it's time to move on. And in spirit of what it's been like this January, I thought we could do one more, at least for now, one more Never Have I Ever video game edition.
Oh, okay.
That's it. We'll be right back. Profoundish is brought to you in part by my music. I'm a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. Most of my songs tell stories, some real, some not, but all of them speak to an experience that we all share, the human condition. Search my name, Alex Duquette, on any streaming platform. Thanks for listening.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by Magic Man Mo, a gaming YouTube channel run by me. We stream and we do variety Let's Plays. Check out a short stream compilation to see if it's something that you're going to be into. It's a lot of fun. I made it, so I know. That's Magic Man Mo on YouTube.
We are back. Weston saying perfect because he knows this is going to go perfectly. So what we got here, this is not made by Oprah, okay? That would have been fun. Who knows? Maybe she has one. I don't know who made this. The tags under this. So it's called Never Have I Ever Gamer Edition. It's 20 questions. So we'll probably go through all of them. Well, it actually depends. Maybe we won't.
We'll see.
I don't know what these are, but hopefully these are pretty fun. Just Never Have I Ever questions. You're good at describing things briefly. Want to describe Never Have I Ever just in case if someone's just now listening?
Yeah, it's usually a party game played with multiple people. You all put up like 5 or 10 fingers, and whoever's turn it is, you go around in a circle, states a thing that they've never done. Never have I ever something. And anyone that's done that something puts down a finger. And you keep going around like that, share stories, laugh at each other, whatever. And once someone's out of fingers, they're eliminated. And whoever's still standing wins. We're playing it 2-player, which means instead of us alternating what we haven't done, Alex is reading from a list. So he'll say, never have I ever whatever. And if we've done that thing, we're going to lower a finger until there's only one person remaining.
That sounds right to me. Thank you for describing that. I would have spent an extra 3 minutes trying to describe it because I go all over the place.
Well, I have kind of explained it twice before because I'm on a Never Have I Ever kick, so...
In other words, we've done this 3 times in the last month
and
now.
I don't know, maybe there's a 4th one coming up. I don't know,
Oh my God. Okay, well...
Don't worry about
let's
it.
get through with that. Don't worry about that. That's hilarious to me. Well, I guess we'll find out next week. Okay, here we go. So this is the Gamer Edition, since we're on the topic of video games this week. Here's the first one. Never have I ever stayed up playing games until the sun rose.
Oh, I've absolutely done that.
Oh, yeah, definitely me too. Now, I can guarantee you've done it more than me, because I can only recall... Well, in recent years, and by recent I mean my adult years, I can only think of one game, because you know me, I'm a sleepy boy. I like to go to bed at 7 p.m. if I could. I did not sleep basically for almost 2 days playing through and beating kind of piece by piece The Last of Us. When that game came out, I played it till the sun rose, and it was beat the next day. Later on that next day, because I took breaks and I would go back to it because I couldn't sleep. I have to go back and play it. That game, I love that so much. I know you've never. I don't think you've played through that, right? I think you said you'd started or something.
This is going to be a hot take. Anyone listening this far in that enjoys video games, I don't like The Last of Us. I thought it was bad.
You don't like it?
I didn't like it. I couldn't play any more of it.
You saying that.
I didn't like.
Oh my
the story. I'm sure is fine. Everyone's always like, "Oh my God, the story." I'm sure the story's fine. I didn't beat it, so I couldn't tell you. But I didn't quit because of the story. I mechanically did not enjoy playing that game.
Well, for the record, the mechanics are fine. They're nothing even to me, nothing to write home about. I think it's really, obviously, as you can imagine too, the story is what carries it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't hate the gameplay though. Wow. Okay.
I wouldn't mind.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe giving it a second chance one day somehow. I mean, it's never going to happen because it's an old game and I've got 1,000 games to play. But if I played it again and gave it a chance, maybe if I could get past the hump that I was playing at, maybe. I don't know. Especially now that there's 2 of them. But no, I didn't enjoy the first, so I never played the second. I usually stayed up playing games like Civilization. I liked games that I could it'd be a strategy game. It has a lot of replayability. I could create the story in my head. A lot of those games that already have a story, like you were saying, Last of Us, I actually have a much easier time for some reason putting them down. I don't know why.
Interesting.
It's kind of annoying.
Well, sure. I mean, I kind of get that too, though, because it's kind of like a television series. Like you play it for a bit, you step away for a few days, maybe you kind of absorb what you took in, then you can go back and do it some more. I get it. In fact, other story games, I do the same thing. That game just changed it for me. But I have a lot of memories years ago. Speaking of like Civ and stuff, like I used to do that. I'd stay up late playing games like Age of Empire. Like I used to play that a lot.
Oh, okay.
Like a long time ago. And those would go late into the night, just by myself. I loved those games back in the day. And also the other one too would be like, I would also put like tons of hours in one sitting to like the city building games and all those. I know you and I both have a love for those. So in other words, both of our fingers are down.
Yeah, we've definitely done this. We could just keep talking about games we played for a while.
See, honestly, if we could easily just do a game podcast, that'd be so easy. Okay, next.
Upcoming podcast, 2023. Here we go. Year of the podcast.
Profoundish. Like, we'll start, like, branding them under the Profoundish umbrella. Profoundish, the game podcast, or whatever you want to call it.
Pro-game-ish.
Pro-game-ish.
I'm keeping that. You can't steal it.
That's actually kind of good.
None of you can steal it. I'm keeping it. That's ours.
That's actually kind of good, because it kind of sounds, you know what I mean? There's a play on words there.
Yeah.
Pro-game-ish. That's good.
We'll talk.
All right. We'll talk. Never have I ever cried after losing a game.
Never have I ever cried.
I've thrown fits, but I don't think I've ever cried.
After losing a game. So I'm thinking like multiplayer or something like that. Or like, what? No, because I guess there's like roguelikes and stuff. I've gotten mad losing a game before, or like losing a really important character, but it's usually more like a frustration because something went horribly wrong and you knew it was going wrong, and then it finally happens and you're just kind of like angry. I've never cried.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I've gotten very passionate and angry and like raged. Like I've thrown tantrums, but I've never cried. So I guess we'll move on from that.
No.
Let's see. Number 3. Never have I ever. I think I know your answer. Never have I ever killed a penguin in Super Mario 64.
I didn't.
You probably never touched that game.
I had a cousin that had Mario 64, and I played a tiny bit then, but like it was at a cousin's house.
So this is like a meme thing now. Basically, like the idea there's a like a winter level, and there's penguins that you like have to save in a level or whatever. But like the world has no like borders, so you can just like jump off the world at any time and just die. And you can pick up these penguins and move them. So the joke is always like, you know, everybody did this at one point if you played it. You took a penguin and threw it off the map, right? That's the idea.
You know,
so I have done that.
It's funny, when I played games as a kid, because this would have been out when I was a kid, I always wanted to protect and preserve all of the, like, NPCs and stuff. Unless it was an enemy, obviously. But if it was a penguin that wasn't doing me any harm, I wouldn't ever even hurt it. I wouldn't even hit it. You know what I mean? You know how some people like try to beat up NPCs, like just start smacking them? I'll do that now for Google Gaggles? Giggles.
Sure.
I just had an aneurysm. For giggles. But as a kid, I was like, no, I don't want to hit them. That would be rude.
Good. Well, you know what? First of all, good for you.
I was a polite little boy. You know. I was an angel.
You were an angel. What the hell happened?
Drugs. No, I'm just kidding. That's not real.
It's not real.
For legal reasons.
We already did the acid episode.
Yeah, I forgot about that. No drugs here. Very clean.
Yeah. It's funny because I'd say for me it was just a classic kid morbid curiosity. Can I throw this thing off? And then it worked. All right. So my finger goes down here. You still have 9. So number 4, I'm going to change the wording of this a little bit to make it a little more appropriate.
Oh, spicy.
Never have I ever imagined smooching a video game character.
Well, okay, actually, because that works a little bit more in your favor, because the other way around, with what I think you're replacing that with, is not. My brain doesn't work that way. But like, have I ever had a
right.
like a vague romantic crush on a video game character? I think so.
I'm sure I have.
You know what I mean?
have no doubt that I have. I'm just trying. I'm literally like, I feel like I felt it, but I'm trying to think who it would have been. Like when I was like younger, because like, you know, I had like a crush on like the bunny from Space Jam. Can't think what her name is. I had a crush on her.
That was Lola Bunny.
So like Lola Bunny. So like, how could I not on like video game characters? Maybe I probably had like a thing for Peach for a while or something.
I can't remember
Or like
what
Zelda or
her
something.
name, how it's pronounced. It's Kira or Kyra, as it's just an OG one that came out forever ago. I always thought she was super cute from Jack and Daxter, the original game.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I thought she was super cute, and she was like she was like an engineer and like built stuff and things. And I was like, dude, I don't know. That's like
This is what I want.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like the earliest possible memory I can think of. Like, I'm not trying to think of recent one. I'm just like, what's the earliest I can think of? And I would have been a kid, so I don't know about smooching or whatever. It probably wouldn't have been any further than I think she's cute. But that's probably maybe the earliest I can think of off the top of my head, unless there's some Spyro character that I liked or something, but I don't remember.
Didn't we do it? We did the Kiss Marry Kill, and I know Ripto was in there.
Well,
Ripto's pretty cute. That big mouth.
Until Kiss Marry Kill, I had never thought of Ripto in that way.
Me neither. It's great. Okay, so I guess finger down for you and finger down for me, right?
I'll put a finger down.
All right, next. Number 5. Never have I ever teabagged.
Oh, I've absolutely teabagged.
Yeah, I have too.
I would have never probably thought to do it on my own, but then it became like an internet thing, and and now I've definitely done it for goofs.
You're right. I've never I don't think I ever teabagged I think I've only done it kind of ironically because I've never been good enough to even
I feel that
have a real reason to teabag someone. You know
what
I mean?
Feel that 100%.
You get it. But yes, I have. Trust me, if I could do that and knock out frickin' City, I would do it every time. I'll just put it that way.
You kind of can. You can kind of do like a little, you could knock someone out and then just kind of jump in place or something. Kind of.
I could, or I could just drop in a ball right on their head. I could do that.
Yeah.
You do have the taunts, so I guess that's kind of like that.
Yeah,
that version of teabagging. That's not the same.
Not the same. It has to be physical.
All right. So I'm down to 4.
4.
I'm down to 6. I have 4
I was
down.
gonna say, Jesus, I'm on 7. I'm crushing it.
All right. Next up here we have. Interesting. I don't know what you think. Never have I ever had dirty thoughts about Zelda or Princess Peach. We can bring it. I guess we can leave it right at that. I guess. I did I remember thinking that way for Zelda. This is kind of similar to the last one, to be honest. It's kind of just more specific.
Well, this is where you're at a disadvantage because I didn't grow up Nintendo, so the whole Zelda, Princess Peach, all of that, that wasn't on my radar. So as far as dirty thought, now I've been on the internet long enough. I've definitely seen dirty images.
Right.
I've been on the internet long enough that
yeah.
You can open up Twitter and get that. But no, I didn't grow up with those games, so that was not really on my radar.
Yeah, I guess technically I'm going to have to put it down because, I have thought that way before, I guess. But it's almost like
Now, if they said...
Should that count?
See, I don't... we already had this
had a question like this.
Yeah. You know what?
Can we just pass this one?
Pass on this one, because it's too similar to the smooch one. This is just... Especially since you already got screwed over with the penguin one.
Yeah.
That's pass.
All right, we'll leave it. Okay, cool. So, next... Never have I ever done a Fortnite dance in real life.
Oh, I have never done that.
Tell me if this counts.
Oh, no.
So, I was with a group of people, and one of my friends there had a kid who played Fortnite. And she was trying to... Is flossing from Fortnite?
Yes.
Or no? Okay, I
well,
thought it was.
I think technically it's from some rapper, and then Fortnite stole the dance, but at the time there was disagreement about whether or not you could own a dance or something. It got popular because of Fortnite, though, not the rapper. Was it a rapper or pop star or something? I think there was some kind of controversy over that, actually.
I'm not sure. I believe it. But so anyway, so she was trying to floss and she wasn't doing it right. I know what it looks like, so then I tried to do it too, but I also couldn't do it. So I did it unsuccessfully, but I did try to floss to show what it would look like. Does that count? It was unsuccessful. Keep that in mind.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think I had on a stream years ago now, someone was trying to ask me to floss on stream, and I don't remember if I tried it or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't remember.
Well, if you're going to say yes, then I'd say yes.
Because I wouldn't have known how to floss. 'Cause I've never. I kind of want to say mine probably doesn't count because I don't even remember if I did it or not. And I want to say yours probably doesn't count either because it was a failure. You were just trying to guess, maybe.
Right. I was just trying and see if I could figure it out and show them what it looked like, but I couldn't do it.
I'm going to say no, it doesn't
Okay.
count, maybe.
And if you can't fully recall, then just keep your finger up too, I guess.
Okay.
So, all right, next. Never have I ever killed my friend until they rage quitted. So I guess what that's saying is, like, you were just pestering your friend in whatever multiplayer game you were playing, just constantly killing them, like, maybe spawn killing them or something, whatever it is, until they got so mad they rage quit.
I don't think so. Because once you get to the point where, like, your friend is getting angry, it's like, okay, it's time to back up, back off.
Right. Oh, you said I don't think so. You cut out, so I just heard, I think so.
No.
I
I don't think so. And then I've been pestered before where I got angry, but then I just got spiteful. I didn't quit.
Right. Yeah, I don't think this has ever happened with me. I have been in situations where I was the victim, though. I never quit, but where they were just, like, pestering me over and over and over again. Like, they were just kicking my butt over and over and over again. And it definitely made it not fun anymore. But that's not what this is asking. So I guess we'll keep it up.
Keep it up.
Oh, here's a fun one. Never have I ever murdered Nazim.
Who's Nazim?
From Skyrim.
Oh,
the guy from Skyrim that, like, everybody kills in
is he the one that always goes up to the Cloud District?
Yes.
That
guy.
No, I've never killed him.
I know that's like a meme because, like, he's such a jerk.
It's this guy. Yeah, everyone, like, hates him. I leave people alone if they're not bothering me. I know he's just like, oh, you never get up to Cloud District, but I'm there all the time, so I'm like, I don't care what you think. I'm the Thane of Whiterun.
I've never killed him either. Yeah, I never killed him either, so I guess that's it.
Okay.
All right, let me see here. Okay, I'm actually skipping some of these because some of these actually keep kind of repeating, so I'm sorry for the silence here.
You do it. That's fine.
Let's see. Never have I ever committed... This is kind of similar. I'm going to change it. Sorry. Okay, this is interesting. Never have I ever lied about being a gamer.
Never have I ever lied about being a gamer. Like,
like, I'm trying...
That's kind of like...
I'm trying to think, like... Sorry, go ahead.
I can imagine kind of excluding being a gamer from conversation. Like, if you're in a certain kind of crowd where, like, you're like, oh, I don't want to be too nerdy, I just won't bring it up. But I've never lied, like, no, I don't play games.
Well, right, same. Because, like, I was trying to think of, like, when I was a kid... Because, like, there was a time where, like, because now, like, everybody's a gamer.
Yeah.
Or at least it's much more accepted. And just in, like, general social settings. So, but I was trying to think if there was an era years ago where it was still considered a little less mainstream than it is now. And where but, like, when I was a kid, though, I didn't care. I just played games because I loved them.
Yeah.
So I guess
that
not really for me either.
I think this is a good question for people a bit older than us that still had that stigma when they were growing up. Because we didn't really so much have that stigma. It was kind of nerdy still, but it wasn't a stigma, so we didn't have to lie about it.
Right. Let me see. Okay, here's a good one. Never have I ever failed to beat Dark Souls and lied about it. I mean, you beat it.
I've beat all of them except for Dark Souls 3, only because I just never finished it, and I don't lie about it. So I've beat 1 and 2. I'd never finished 3. I've beat Bloodborne several times.
Right. I know you love Bloodborne. I have played almost all of them, not even gotten close to beating any of them, though. But I haven't lied about it either. So,
God, watching you play Demon's Souls all those years ago was, like, so painful but so funny. Because you're kind of approaching it kind of
so long
Legend
ago.
of Zelda-esque, but I'm like, it's a little bit different.
Well, because I was completely at that time, especially because that the Souls games didn't like break through like they are now. Like now, like anything From puts out is like huge now, right? So like I was completely unfamiliar at the time. So, But that did open the door for me, and I actually really did. I do enjoy them when I play them. It's just I don't have the patience, and I just I don't. Not in that way. I can be patient with like games in other ways, but for those, that's just not my cup of tea. But I do know that's a thing. Like, there's the whole stigma behind that. I get why they have this question here. I totally get that. Let's do just a couple more here. This is a fun one. Never have I ever gone to great lengths to torture my Sims in the most creative ways.
I think we've all tried to torture our Sims a little bit.
Yeah.
I've never been one of the like going to extremes though. Like it's kind of like take the ladder out of the pool, try to lock them in a room. I do remember trying to starve a Sim, I think, in Sims 1 on console, and they wouldn't die. They just wouldn't die.
I keep forgetting that you really, in the early days, did console.
Yeah, in the early days, I was a console simmer.
Yeah, we had a big talk about that when you came down to visit. Because it's a pretty different experience, especially, I think, on the first one.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty different from the PC version. I never played that, so I wouldn't know.
And for Bustin' Out. Bustin' Out was great.
Oh, Bustin' Out was so good, though. Like, that was made for consoles. Such a good game. I would love to stream that with you, because you can do co-op.
Yeah, we'd have to do
in creative mode.
The screen share thing. I can't think of what it's called now, but we'd have to do that.
Parsec.
Yeah, that's the one.
I would love to do that with you. Actually, let's talk. Let's talk. All right, we just got a couple more here, so we'll wrap these up. So I'm down to 5 fingers.
I'm
what
at
do you
6.
Got? You're at 6. You're winning. Okay,
no, just by 1.
Yeah, but you're still winning. All right, we'll have to do another tweet. A lot of tweets about each other.
Oh yeah, we didn't agree to that this time, but okay, yeah, sure. Same rules.
So same rules. Another haiku. All right, 19. Got one more after this. Never have I ever given my hard-earned money to a pay-to-win mobile game. That's a good one. I'm curious your answer.
No, I'm trying to think of anything that I've ever spent money on for mobile games, but I think none of them have ever been pay-to-win. There's a couple games that I pay for, but they're like the one-off kind. So Mazniak, who I play their games on stream, they have an ad-free version of their games. I always pay for that. I support them. They've supported me. It's kind of like a back-and-forth thing. There's a couple other games I've paid for outright just to own the game, but no pay-to-win games. I played a lot of Looney Tunes World of Mayhem. That maybe was the closest I ever thought about putting money down because I was like playing it on YouTube.
Yeah. I don't think I have. Actually, I know that I haven't. I've put I don't even know the closest I've gotten. I usually don't throw any money at any game. It's not a rule. I just usually haven't. So I guess I keep my finger up there too. Last one.
Okay.
I'm curious about this one too. Never have I ever had an MMORPG boyfriend or girlfriend who I never saw in real life.
Oh, so this one's on technicality. I never requested an MMO boyfriend or girlfriend, but this was in Draenor Manor in RuneScape in 2008 or 9. It was 8 or 9.
He remembered.
Well, because it was such a strange story. Like, I forget what the puzzle was. It was the Draenor Manor puzzle. And in one of the wings, you had to do a thing, and it was kind of hard to figure out. It was kind of complicated at the time. Something about it was obscure. And this person was stuck with it or whatever. It's like, oh, I'll help you do this. And they're like, if you help me do it, I'll become your RuneScape GF or whatever. I'm like, well, I don't care. I already told you I'd help. So anyway, I helped this person. Presumably a girl, I don't even know, finish the quest, and they're like, oh, okay, add me or whatever, I'm your girlfriend now. And I'm like, okay, I'll add you, sure, whatever. Never logged in ever again.
How short-lived.
I'm like, I helped you with this quest. Look, I didn't want a RuneScape girlfriend. They propositioned this on me, all right? I just was helping out with a quest that I had literally just finished anyway, so I was already there. I'm like, sure, I'll help you, no big deal. I added them. I wasn't asking for anything. It was just, you're on my friends list. I never saw them again, ever. I never even saw them online. I don't know if they ever played RuneScape again. I have no idea.
If they got back on RuneScape again, then I would immediately say yes, it counts. Even if you didn't care, you still willingly did the friend request and knew that at least they thought they were in a relationship with you. And you weren't necessarily going to say, like, whoa, we're not in a relationship. It was just more of like a passing, right? Just like a passive, okay, fine, we did whatever, right?
Yeah.
But since he or she never signed back on, I guess it doesn't count.
I never
because you
saw
never
them
had
again.
another experience like post relationship start. This is just a fun little story for me. I never have, but I did play. Do you remember the game completely? I mean, I played RuneScape 2, of course, but do you remember the game? This is totally different. I think it was called Habbo. Habbo. It was like it was more casual, but it was online. You'd build your apartment and like you'd
Habbo with an O. Okay.
You could go to like public things with people and go to parties. It was much more of like the social aspect was pushed a lot harder, but you could still like customize things and I think it was called Habbo.
Yeah, Habbo.
Habbo.
It is. I'm looking at it now.
And I don't know if it still exists. This was ages ago. I was so young, but I remember hearing that some people would have online girlfriends, and I was thinking, oh, I want to go find an online girlfriend. So I was on a search to find an online girlfriend and never got one.
So you wanted to, you just failed.
I never had one. So
it's kind of like the
so I guess my
failing to do the
up.
floss.
Exactly. Yeah, 2 of mine I just failed. I couldn't do, but they would have counted otherwise. So, yeah, that game was interesting.
Apparently,
does it still exist?
Apparently, it does. I don't know if. Yeah, you can sign up an account, and I guess you can play it. Yeah, it apparently still exists.
Weird.
Apparently, you can play it on mobile. It's on Google Play.
That feels like it'd be more of a mobile game now, because like that game wasn't a full-on MMORPG. Like you couldn't like you weren't like leveling up. Like you didn't have stats. You know, this was kind of a cheat. You know, it's much more of like a. It's kind of more like Second Life, but like in a completely different like style.
Okay.
So which I played Second Life briefly. I barely remember that game. My computer at the time couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I think I installed it once because I was curious about it, and then I like never played it again.
Because to me at the time, I didn't know any marketing about it, but to me, from what I did know, it looked like an online Sims. Like that's what I thought it was.
And it's like your Second Life, so it's supposed to be like a detailed life sim. And I was like, but multiplayer. Right. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah. I think that had a dedicated group, like fan base. I don't know if that still exists. But I know for a while they had like a cult following. I know that with that game. But well, Weston,
yep,
we did it again. You beat me
by one
again. By one. So I have to write you now another haiku talking about how great you are. I'm running out of compliments.
The thing is, you've just clearly done more than me. I mean, that's how you lose this game: is just do more, be a more experienced individual, and you lose.
That makes me feel a little better. Thanks.
Right? Like it's not that you're losing to me because I'm better than you. You're losing to me because you've literally done more things than me. Apparently,
I guess you're right. I guess that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to go. Weston, where can people find you on the internet?
I've got a website at westonhasty.com. My gaming channel is called Magic Man Mo on YouTube. I have a podcast called A Hasty Podcast. Check out any of those things. Say hi to me on Twitter at Weston Hasty.
You can say hi to me on Twitter, but I probably won't respond, so don't go there. But it's at AP Duquette. I still have a Twitter. Your best bet is to go to alexduquette.net and see all that I do. Just a couple days ago, I released my new album called Songs from Sangamon Street. You can listen to it there or anywhere you stream your music. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Music, anywhere you do it. Or Google, was it Google Play Music? I'm not sure.
Yes.
But they have a music thing too. So anyway, you can stream that anywhere. That would mean a lot. Other than that, YouTube as well. Type in my name, Alex Duquette, and you can watch my medleys. I do nostalgic TV show theme song medleys, little bite-sized songs that take you on nostalgia trips. So check those out too. And then Profoundish. You're better at giving all the tags. Why don't you throw it at us?
Hey, you're listening to us wherever you're listening to us. We're available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, so follow us on all of the things. We have a Twitter and an Instagram and a TikTok, all at Profoundish Pod.
Yes, and if you're listening on the podcast side of it all, leave a rating. That goes a long way.
Yep.
That means a lot to us. And then feel free to engage, right? If you have any things you'd like for us to talk about or just continue the conversation, shoot us a message on Twitter, or sometimes there's even questions you can answer on Spotify itself, so check it out there too. We'd love to continue the conversations. But for now, we will be going. Weston, let's ride off into the sunset together.
All right, take my hand, hop up on the horse, saddle up, let's go! I said
that was my horse.
I said hop up on the horse, don't become the horse.
Oh, shoot. Well, we gotta go. See ya.
Bye.